Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of Simrig Tour. This episode is all about Logitech setups. Logitech wheels are on the lower end of the sim racing spectrum, but that doesn't mean you can have a good setup with it or have fun with it. So I asked the community to send some of your sim racing setups using these wheels, and you've replied. But before going to the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. The first setup of the day is from Swiss, and he uses this setup as a dual purpose setup. He has this huge desk where he can both work and can be sim racing. On the left side, it is his work stand where he does music, edits music, composes it. And on the right side, he has his sim racing stand. The way that he changes from editing to sim racing only using one monitor, which is an LG 34-inch ultra-wide, is through a monitor stand that is rotating. When the monitor stand is set to the left side, he'll be editing his stuff. When it's set on the right side, it's for playing and racing some Assetto Corsa and other sims. On the sim racing part of this setup, I find it really interesting as he has a play seat connected to a homemade chassis, and when the monitor is set forward, it will sag a bit, but in order to avoid it, he has two wooden blocks to avoid that monitor to sag. So his sim racing setup is essentially a G27 with a G27 shifter. His seat is a play seat connected to the aforementioned wood chassis, and these pedals are the Thrustmaster TLCM pedals. I find the way that he has his setup really cozy and really intelligently done. A very big desk that he can use for dual purpose. And he also sent us another picture showing his guitar collection that is on the wall. I really enjoyed this setup. It is clean, it is functional, and it's one that is really inventive. Thank you very much, Swiss. The next setup is from Rafa. Rafa is a long-standing supporter of this channel, and in my opinion, his setup could be shown in other types of channels, namely the ones that center themselves around desktop tours. Like many other sim racers, he uses his desk with dual purpose for work, study, and also sim racing, and he has really decorated his room really well in my opinion. Rafa has a very typical sim racing setup that a lot of people use, which is basically a wheel connected to a desk, in this case the Logitech G29 with the shifter and the regular pedals, and he drives sitting in a gaming chair. Normally that would be the story for most desk setups, but in this case, as the way he has decorated his room, I think it's really interesting to show some of the things he has on his desk. He uses a dual screen setup for sim racing and probably watching some random call sign videos. One of my favorite peripherals that he has is the HyperX Alloy Elite keyboard with some pudding keycaps that are really nice in my opinion. They really give a nice touch. And you can see that he likes Toyota, he has a Toyota pillow and the A86 on one of his frames. The computer is sitting on the left side of his setup, and it's comprised of an Intel i5-8600K, an Asus Strix GTX 1070 overclock, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a I/O cooler from Corsair. Unfortunately, on the way he has set up his tower, it doesn't show a lot because the window would be on the wrong way. Nonetheless, despite his setup being a very simplistic one in a case of sim racing, it shows that you can have a sim racing setup set on the desk and still decorate your room pretty nice. Thank you very much for your participation. Next up is Rukyu. Rukyu also uses a desk setup. This one is a little bit different than the others we've seen thus far. So he has basically two desks connected together in an L shape. On one part, I think he uses it for gaming, and the other part, it's probably for work on the right side where his desktop or laptop is connected. For his sim racing setup, he uses a Logitech G29 with the Logitech shifter and pedals. He uses as the handbrake the joystick you see on your top left, which is a Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. He has a solution for a problem that many sim racers have when they're using a desk, which is how do I stop my pedals from moving when I press the pedals or press the brake. In this case, he has used a cheap wooden footrest as a pedal stand or pedal brake or limiter. The computer that he uses to power all of this is the laptop you see on the right side, which is the Asus Strix Hero 2, which has a i7-8750H and a RTX 2060 Max Speed GPU. Rukyu has a somewhat minimalistic setup, but it's a setup that works for him, and that's basically just what you need. It's a setup that can be used for both sim racing and study, work, or whatever you need. And when you don't need the wheel around, you just store it on the left side of the desk. So it's very well cozy and compact. I really enjoyed this one. Thank you very much, Rikyu, for your participation. For the next setup, the Mousie GS provided us with a setup that is a little more than a basic one, and it's actually pretty interesting and nice to look at. So it's a triple screen setup with triple 24-inch screens, a Logitech G29 wheel and pedals, and I can see that he modded his shifter as well. There is like a metal polished knob on the left side of his G29, and he is connecting his G29 to a wheel stand of sorts. I can't really see what type of wheel stand it is, and he sits on a regular gaming chair. Now his desk area is decorated in the colors of red and black, and not only you can see the red and black in the soundproof panels, but you see it on the screens with the Ferrari, you can see it on his PC case, and you also see it on the big monitor up top, which he has connected to the PlayStation 4. The PC specs behind all of this are an Intel i7-9700K, an RTX 2080 graphics cards, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and he uses it with an Oculus Rift S for VR. Not sure if it's uncomfortable if you race on PlayStation 4 to have such a big screen above you, so you'd be racing with your head pointing upwards. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe he changes this to the screens below, but other than that, it's a very colorful, interesting looking desk setup that he uses with a wheel stand and also serves a lot of purposes. The next setup is once more a very simple setup, very simple sim racing setup, is just using a Logitech wheel in a desk. In this case, it's just a Logitech G27, the shifter and the pedals in the ground, which are basically against the wall to avoid the wheel from going around left and right, front and back. Morris hasn't really provided us any information regarding his setup, but it's, you can see that is setup that a lot of people use with the computer up top on the desk, a very small screen, maybe a 21 to 24 inch just in front, an office chair and behind the office chair to avoid the office chair to move around. He doesn't use any particular tricks for his caster wheels on his office chair, it just has the bed behind him. So in this case, he can sit and the chair won't move anywhere. Quite a lot of space on his desk too, quite a big size of the desk. He has space for everything. He has space for his PC case, the monitor, a few cars, and a couple of speakers as well. So once again, it tells you you don't really need much equipment to run sim race. You just need space to put your wheel on. So thank you very much, Morris, for your setup. The last setup is from Matteo Henry, and unfortunately it doesn't provide much information in regards of what he has done. In this case, this is an aluminum profile. I'm not sure that is an 80/20 aluminum profile, but it does certainly seem so, that it's very likely self-built. And on this profile, he has mounted a Logitech G27, so you can even see that you can use a Logitech G27 wheel on a setup or a cockpit like this. His pedals are also mounted on the chassis itself, and he has a monitor in front of him, very close to the wheel, to give a very good field of view. I'm not totally sure that the seat is sitting on is a car seat. It does certainly seem so, but unfortunately the picture quality that was provided isn't really the best, and I can't really zoom, but I'm tended to believe so that this is indeed a car seat. It's a very simple chassis, it's a very simple setup. Even though you're using aluminum chassis, it's very cozy, and I just noticed that below the seat there is carpet on the bottom, and gives it a very nice and personal touch to his chassis setup. The footprint of his chassis seems to be a very small, very compact, all things considered, considering that he has built indeed a chassis and he has a screen in front of him. I do enjoy these types of machinations where sim racers try to build stuff and it works really well, and in the end it's actually quite compact for what it was built. Thank Thank you very much for your participation, Matteo, but next time please don't forget to give a little more insight of what you have done and what equipment you are using. And here you have it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you want to participate, just join our Discord. There is a channel called Your Rigs. Just leave your pictures there and they might feature in a future video. Also, please don't forget to leave a like and also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you'll see new videos and streams as they come out. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.